in either stance, that's a real problem for Canelo because he will just be switching, and you don't know where the shots are coming from, and it's so easy for him to do so. And I think the thing that really made me appreciate him is there's many times where I've seen people try and trade with him and slug it out, and
I don't know if it's reachable for him. If anybody can do it, it's him, and I'm contradicting myself. I just don't see it happening, you know? Could it happen? Yeah, it's boxing.
Reports indicate that Terence Crawford has been working with Gennady Golovkin in preparation for his showdown with Canelo Alvarez, creating a buzz throughout the boxing scene. Sources say the pair are focusing on improving Crawford's punching, power, timing, and overall fight IQ, with Golovkin's wealth of experience guiding him. This rumored collaboration could give Crawford the extra boost he needs for one of the toughest challenges of his career. When experts evaluate Terence Crawford, they don't view him as an ordinary boxer. They see a rare athlete who blends speed, timing, and an extraordinary knack for reading opponents. Known for seamlessly switching stances and adjusting strategies, mid-bout, Crawford demonstrates a skill that only a select few possess. His fight intelligence is often labeled near genius, as he breaks down opponents with surgical precision. Analysts believe his adaptability and ring sense make him stand out, setting him apart from most fighters today. For many observers, he's not just great, but exceptional in how he controls bouts with intellect and strategy.
But if there is anyone who can do it, it's Terence Bud Crawford, a man who survived getting shot in the head, for God's sakes. Like, he is not normal. He is a wizard of boxing. He's got genius IQ, one of the smartest boxers I've ever seen, and he can do it all. He's had over 40 fights. I can't ever remember seeing him like shook or worried. I mean, this is, trained killers trying to take his head off, and he never looks out of pocket. He is like a rapper who just turns up and figures out his lines on the fly and still makes it sound like the best song you've ever heard. Like, that's how amazing he is. Like, I've never seen anyone who can fight out both stances the way Crawford can. I mean, he looks so natural in either stance. That's a real problem for Canelo because he will just be switching, and you don't know where the shots are coming from, and it's so easy for him to do so. And I think the thing that really made me appreciate him is there's many times where I've seen people try and trade with him and slug it out, and when they stand in the pocket and they just go for it. And even in those situations where usually both of you are getting hit, he still manages to hit and not get hit. It's like he's in the Matrix. And this isn't against average fighters. This is against the best in the world at 4 different weight classes. And he's made it look easy pretty much every time he's moved up. I think in the Errol Spence fight, that was a fight that was supposed to be 50-50. The pressure was on. A lot of people thought he was going to lose that fight. He made that look like a boxing lesson. And the reason is when Errol Spence would throw a punch and not get out of the pocket quick enough, he would make them pay every single time. And if people are worried about Canelo's feet being slow, if there's anyone who can punish that, it's Terence Bud Crawford. In terms of weaknesses, these guys, they don't really have weaknesses. They've just got things that they maybe not as amazing at. That's the level we're talking here. Canelo has been accused of being a bit of a slow starter, and that could be a problem in this fight.
Mikkel Fox underlined a key element in the upcoming clash between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez: weight. Stepping up to fight a naturally bigger, stronger opponent like Canelo brings obvious risks. The size gap could let Canelo impose his physicality, making it harder for Crawford to trade power shots. Yet Fox stressed that aside from this, Crawford holds the upper hand in nearly all technical areas. His movement creates angles that frustrate forward fighters. His jab is crisp and accurate, and his elite timing allows him to exploit even the slightest opening. Most importantly, his ring IQ ranks among the best today. He can shift tactics mid-bout and adjust seamlessly to any opponent. Fox believes these qualities make Crawford a nightmare for Canelo. Despite the weight issue, if Crawford withstands the physical challenge and prevents Canelo from controlling the fight with power punches, his superior skills could prevail and give him a real chance to defeat the Mexican star.
I would like to see Bud pull it off. Thing about it is, the only disadvantage Bud really has is the weight. I think he has all the skills and attributes that are required to beat a guy like Canelo Alvarez. Canelo's kind of flat-footed. You've seen the fights with Bivol and Laura and even School, who didn't do much, but you see that movement irritates Canelo. You know what I'm saying? When dudes that know how to control the range and stuff like that, he didn't look like the world beater. You know what I mean? The motherfuckers that sat in front of him, them dudes that sat in front of him, we see what he did with him. You know what I mean? But guys like Bivol, who was bigger, but he bouncing in and out. Laura, motherfucking landing counter lefts, and he's circling out, and that shit was, you know, fucking with Canelo. Floyd, you know, it probably killed Canelo that Floyd was always only an inch away.
Yep.
Just a little step back, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, God, that fuck I missed by a mile.
That's
so,
crazy because he didn't use no movement.
Right.
He stood in the pocket on it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Triple G was. You said G? Triple G?
No. I said Floyd didn't use no movement.
Yeah. No. Yeah. He was always where he needed to be in the ring. He was always where he needed to be in the ring. I'm in there to land, then I'm just right here. In there to land, now I'm right here. It was a bad motherfucker, Joe. Like that's what more than ever gotta understand. Floyd was a bad motherfucker. But the movement, having good feet under you, helps against Canelo.
When fresh training photos of Terence Crawford's physique appeared online, Showbiz reacted with a mix of curiosity and doubt. The images showed Crawford in peak shape with a sharply defined build, but questions quickly rose over whether the pictures were genuine or digitally altered. Some fans speculated they might be exaggerated to intimidate Canelo Alvarez before their bout. Showbiz noted that while Crawford has always trained with discipline, such a dramatic transformation naturally sparked debate. The response shows how intensely fans and commentators scrutinize every detail, especially leading into a super fight of this scale.
And shredded wheat and amazing is this photo photoshopped, because this photo that Ilia Tapora posted of Terence Bud Crawford is the latest photo we've seen, and he looks just less impressive in this photo. Well, the question is really, when were the photos taken? All right. So when you look at this photo and you look at this photo and look at this video of Terence Crawford with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh as Terence Crawford is working out, supposedly just yesterday, right? Which one is Terence Crawford's latest appearance? Because even though this is the latest photo you've seen, doesn't mean this is when the photo was taken. The only reason why people are confused is because this latest photo seems to have been taken in Vegas. And we're approaching fight week and Terence Crawford is already in Vegas. Hence the video with him with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh in Vegas. Now, let me explain all of this. Well, first you gotta look at the hairstyles, right? Terence Crawford in this photo from Ilia Tapora, his hairstyle is totally different than this hairstyle here with Terence Crawford shredded wheat. It is also different than his hairstyle that he has here in the gym with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. You can tell because you can tell how the hair braid, like how it's parted in this photo, and in this photo, they're more parted down the middle, where this video, it's slanted, it's in like a diagonal slant, which I'm thinking is his latest.
Adam Smith offered an in-depth take on why he favors Terence Crawford over Canelo Alvarez, centering on timing as the decisive element. Smith argued that boxing is about more than skill, it's also about facing opponents at the right or wrong stage of their careers. He observed that Canelo has endured years of grueling battles with elite foes, which has inevitably worn on his body, though still highly capable. Smith feels Canelo's speed, explosiveness, and sharpness have dipped from their peak. In contrast, Crawford is hitting what many view as the prime of his career. He's undefeated, has momentum, and shows no signs of slowing down. Hungry and motivated, he fights with the energy of someone eager to prove himself at the top. Smith believes this alignment of form and ambition favors Crawford. In his view, the timing of this matchup is not on Canelo's side, making it the perfect chance for Crawford to win and cement his legacy.
To be in Vegas to see, I think Terence Crawford beats Canelo, and I think that it's going to be his coming out party. I'd love to be there, and Canelo, of course, an all-time great. Yeah, but listen, I love Ireland, and I'm pleased to be in Belfast with the zone for Crocker and Donovan. There's something about an all-Irish fight which is fantastic, and it was great and controversial first time around. It's even bigger now. So yeah, let's chat over there and get on with it.
Just a quick one on Canelo Crawford. I heard you pick Crawford. You just said it there. How much of that is down to timing and how much of that is down to styles?
A bit of both. I think Canelo is approaching 70 fights. He's been beaten before. Crawford remains undefeated. I think that the jump up is big, but I think he's got the speed, the IQ, the experience, the know-how to be able to handle it. If he's switched on for every minute of every round, I think he wins, and I think he announces himself to the world on Netflix. And I think he deserves it. I think Terence Crawford's only been really known to the trade fans. Canelo, obviously, a bigger name, bigger star. And look, I fancy Crawford in this fight. Look, nothing against Canelo. Maybe it's a little bit of time in the skull fight. I don't know, but there's plenty that fancy Canelo be too big, too strong, too good. It's Crawford for me.
On Talk Sport Boxing, the debate over Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford grew heated. Some commentators boldly predicted that if Crawford suffers a heavy loss to Canelo, it could mark the end of his appearances at the sport's highest level. The panel weighed both perspectives. Some thought Canelo's size and pressure would overpower Crawford, while others believed Crawford's skill and intelligence could exploit Canelo's weaknesses. The exchange mirrored the split opinion across the boxing world. Most striking was the dramatic claim that defeat might end Crawford's run in marquee fights, underscoring just how high the stakes are for this bout.
So yeah, there's a big argument that Canelo Alvarez starts the favourite going into this one because he's the super middleweight world champion. Bud Crawford jumping up to two weight divisions, and he's jumped up a weight division before that as well, beating Errol Spence. You just look at it and go, it's a massive ask here for Terence Crawford. Something inside me tells me he wins, and we'll get into that later on.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute, but in the meantime, Canelo, as ever, has left no stone unturned. He's been training at altitude in Sierra Nevada, looking to get the maximum body stamina and preparation advantage. It's something that he's used to. And of course, he's going to effectively be the home fighter because Tex-Mexers will be up in their numbers from Texas. Also, Hispanic fans from all around the United States. The fight is being made on Mexican Independence Day. I don't think you have to be a great crystal ball gazer to know where the bulk of the crowd is going to be rooting when they step out inside those ropes and their names are bellowed out by the ringside announcer afterwards.
Listen, even though the fight happens in America and Terence Crawford is American, it is going to be so pro-Mexican there, because Canelo is accepted. He's like an adopted son there, and Mexican Independence Day, all of that goes so much in favour of Canelo Alvarez. You go, actually, the guy that's a four-division world champion and a superstar of the sport and American will start probably the fan favourite will definitely be Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, definitely. And he's been training with somebody, sparring with a man who he thinks replicates Crawford's style in sparring many rounds against Yaron Ennis.
George Ferocious Kambosos Jr. gave his take by stressing Canelo's pressure fighting style. He noted that Canelo is most effective when closing the distance, cutting off the ring, and landing heavy combinations. Kambosos highlighted Canelo's strength in throwing powerful, precise punches while maintaining steady forward momentum. He predicted Canelo will employ this approach against Crawford, pushing him to fight off the back foot for much of the contest. For Crawford, the challenge will be withstanding those heavy shots and preventing Canelo from controlling the tempo. Kambosos believes Canelo's pressure is a weapon that cannot be overlooked.
Canelo is the pressure fighter. He's got to put the pressure on Crawford. He has to be able to land his big shots. He's seasoned at fighting at super middleweight. He's fought as high as light heavyweight, as we know. So he is accustomed to the bigger punches, the bigger shots. I don't think Crawford can really land anything that's going to trouble a guy like Canelo Alvarez. Canelo is such a good pressure fighter. And for him to be successful in this fight, he needs to be able to really cut the ring off very, very well with a guy like Terence Crawford. Now, we saw in Canelo's last fight against Skull that he was not able to really cut him off well. So that has caused a lot of doubters, and people starting to think, Crawford will have that edge in the footwork and the movement department. But, when you're fighting a big fight, you're going to get up for a big fight, and he's really going to be at his best against a guy like Terence Crawford. So I believe he will cut the ring off, very, very well. And for him to be successful, he has to land shots on Crawford, put him in two frames of mind, make Crawford double think every time Canelo goes into and wants to land shots and land shots. Now, a guy like Crawford is so slick, so dynamic, able to punch you from different angles and different stances. We see he switches from orthodox to southpaw. He might fight the whole fight in southpaw. So he's so dynamic. Now, he's the kind of guy that he's going to put Canelo in two kind of frames of mind.
Some analysts point back to Terence Crawford's showing when he faced Israil Madrimov, noting that he didn't appear fully comfortable at the higher weight. They argue that moving up again to fight Canelo Alvarez is an even steeper climb that could bring bigger problems. Against Madrimov, Crawford was still adapting to the division and his power didn't seem as dominant. The worry is that versus Canelo, a naturally larger and stronger opponent, this issue might become more pronounced. Analysts taking this stance believe the size and weight difference could neutralize some of Crawford's usual advantages, making the move a considerable risk.
A lot of people feel Crawford actually lost that fight. So we've got Crawford who's coming in off the back of, well, his previous two fights. One of them was brilliant performance. The other one was a bit lackluster by his very high standards, albeit against a very, very good fighter. But you could see in that fight that the size of Israil Madrimov, bear in mind, 154 pounds. Israil Madrimov still fights at 154 pounds. This is super middleweight, 2 divisions more. And we've seen Canelo when he's brought someone up from 154, who was a decent size 154 pounder in Charlo. Crawford's not going to do what Charlo did. Charlo fought like, someone who was completely scared out of his mind and just didn't want to knew he wasn't going to win, but didn't want to get stopped. That was really the look we were getting from Charlo. Crawford is not going to do that. He's a very proud man. He doesn't know what it's like to be defeated. He fully believes in himself. And the shape he looks in phenomenal shape. He's coming into this fight fully believing that he can win this. And that right there is the mindset you need to have. It won't guarantee you victory, but it will give you a better chance than if you went in there thinking, right, just survive and see what happens. I do think that the size difference will be something. Although saying that, look at Canelo Alvarez, we look at his most recent performances, and when's the last fight from Alvarez that's really made you stand up and take note? Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Saunders, maybe those 2 fights, they were good performances. Lost, clearly, the Dimitri Bivol fight, although it's very close here. It was on the scorecards, it was a clear loss. Against Triple G, it was just a meh performance. Likewise against John Ryder. Charlo, I won't even talk about that. Munguia, it was a bit meh. Berlanga, it was like, okay, and show me something.
Former Canelo team member Joe Vargas weighed in on the upcoming fight, insisting that Canelo is a different breed. Vargas explained that Canelo possesses qualities that separate him from most fighters: his composure under fire, his punishing, body shots, and his knockout power in both hands all make him dangerous. Vargas also stressed that Crawford has never faced someone like Canelo, who blends power with defensive awareness. In his view, while Crawford is smart and talented, this matchup will be unlike anything he's experienced. For Vargas, this fight represents Canelo's chance to prove he's still one of the sport's most complete fighters.
This is the first time I pick it. I'm going to go with Canelo on this one.
And why is that?
They're both great at what they do. I'm going against Maggie. I heard everything she said right now. She's right on the money on all that stuff, but Crawford has done a lot of great things at a smaller weight. That jump is I don't know if it's reachable for him. If anybody can do it, it's him, and I'm contradicting myself. I just don't see it happening, Could it happen? Yeah, it's boxing. Mm-hmm. But I just think Canelo's too good at the little things. And what's Crawford's game plan going to be? That's what's going to define the fight to me.
Do you think Canelo knocks him out?
No, but I think, if that's the only way I think he's going to win. I think he wants to make a statement. I was going back and forth about Canelo. Like everybody talks about, for example, when Berlanga fought Shiraz. Mm-hmm. Did I say it right? Shiraz? Yeah. Berlanga was engaging with Shiraz. He wasn't engaging with Canelo much, Same thing with Ryder. He didn't engage with Canelo. Munguia did. And it's like you fight people different. Crawford's not going to fight him the same way he's fought everybody else. Yeah, he's going to make great adjustments. He's going to do some great things. It's not the same till you get hit by Canelo. Mm-hmm. One time, I remember the first time Ulises Sierra sparred with Canelo, the first time we went to his camp, and he came back after the first round, and I said, "What's up, mijo? How hard does he hit?" He said, "Coach, I can feel his power all the way down to my feet."
That wraps up today's video. Make sure to stay tuned for what's next.